Well, here's our first question for today. I wanted to ask, how does one deal with a situation where one spouse is willing to make the relationship and the marriage work, and the other spouse is very uninterested and not even bothered? Well, thank you for the person that sent this question in. And, I think that's not untypical. It seems like we sometimes one wants a marriage to work better than the other. What I would say in situations like this, and what's really worked for us when one's maybe been a little ahead of the other, or couples I work with, if you want the relationship to work, keep doing the things that you know are good for your marriage. Don't nag your spouse. Just continue to do the things. Ask God for help. Ask God to give you wisdom of the things to do. Know your spouse's love language and do everything you can to meet that need. And then just continue to do the things that you know God wants you to do. Going to counseling for you to find a Christian counselor could be very helpful as you navigate through this, and continue to pray that your husband will come around and respond, and even at some point join you in counseling. So I think these are hard situations because when we give and do things, we love to get something back in return, and we don't always get that. But I think there's something to be said for continuing to do the things that God wants you to do. And I think God blesses that. Hey, I'm Dr. Kim, and today we are answering some of your questions. We get so many questions all the time, so we decided to do a live today with just some of the questions. If you guys like this format, we'll continue to do this some more. You can always send questions to me at drkim@awesomemarriage.com. We answer every question that you send. Okay, the second one. My husband and kiddos live far away from my family and close to his. He knows how badly I've wanted to move back closer to my folks for a long time. I don't like the long winters where we live now. I have a hard time connecting with his family, and I wish often my children were closer to my mom. I feel pressure often from my family to move back on top of it, making it harder. What do you think I should do? My dad thinks I should manipulate my husband by leaving until he follows me, which I know is wrong. Do I just continue to pretend like I'm happy? I'm trying to make it feel like home here, but it's super hard. Really good question. And I think with mobile society and jobs changing, a lot of people find themselves in that kind of a situation. It sounds like your situation is one where you really probably could move, and maybe a job is not a constraint there. I agree with you. I don't agree with your dad. I know how much dad wants a daughter to be close, but I don't think manipulating your husband is the way to get that, because it will bring a lot of resentment in the future. I would continue to pray about it. I would continue to look for opportunities to talk about it, to really share your heart. To not getting angry is not going to help. Manipulating is not going to help. It's continuing to share your heart with your spouse over and over, and praying for God to give you wisdom in what you would say and how to do that. Uh, Obviously, in a marriage, I think you want to, I would probably sit down with you, and I would just write pros and cons on both sides from both of you, kind of look at it together, try to look at it objectively, because there's a lot of emotion involved, and then come up with a solution, and hopefully a solution that would be good for both of you, work for both of you, uh, in that way. But right now, I would say to pray, look for opportunities to talk to your husband. If your husband would go to counseling with you, that would probably be great, because you'd have an objective third party that wasn't family on either side, to kind of help talk things through with both of you. Thanks for that question. Um, then we asked for someone that would like content on couples who are struggling with intimacy due to time constraints and, more importantly, age-related health issues. That would be a huge blessing to us. We agree that sex is a gift from God in our marriage, but it's truly hard to enjoy that gift when you have intimacy issues. Due to all that has gone on in our life in the last year, and coupled with health issues, we went 6 months without any intimacy, and it's affecting our marriage greatly. Addressing age-related health issues in regards to sex and the best ways to deal with it would be huge. It's hard to read the one things about sex and marriage and positive action points, but are unfortunately not the easiest for us to do. My heart goes out to you, and I know a lot of people find themselves in situations like this, and it's not just age-related situations with sex. I would do this first, as far as the age-related answer to this question. I would say make sure that you have been checked out by doctors. Make sure you guys are doing everything medically that you can do to help that, whether it's ED issues or whatever that is. And then there's, I think, other ways to have sex. It doesn't always have to include intercourse. There's other ways of pleasuring each other, of being together closely, being very intimate with each other. And I would find what works for you now and do that. and then check out with doctors. Maybe there's other things that can help, maybe physical therapy, depending on what the situation is. But I agree with you. It is a gift from God. And as long as we possibly can, I think God wants us to enjoy that gift. And so I would just encourage you to take whatever steps you need to take to make that happen. And to know that wherever you are, it is okay. And that you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else. What I would want for you is to find something that is fulfilling and satisfying to the two of you and keeps you intimate and connected, as opposed to letting this pull you apart and drift apart. Okay, last question today is as a daughter of God, I want to obey his word and submit to my husband in life decisions, making everyday decisions. On the other hand, the dynamics of womanhood and the way she's shaped, her character, of course, the influence of the world leads her to take control, take decisions, and work towards a goal. How can we distinguish between the two, what is the borderline of the two, and ultimately God's will? And so I do think that in a marriage, I think it is a symbiotic relationship. It's two people that are equal, and they work side by side to accomplish what God has for them. Each of you have gifts and abilities. For Nancy and I, we talk things over. Usually 99% of the time, after we've talked through it and we've really listened to each other, we're on the same page, and it's easy to make the decision. There have been a few times where it wasn't like it was something we were hostile against, but we had different opinions and the decision had to be made. And through prayer and God and Nancy knowing that I prayed about it, that she prayed about it, she was very open to letting me make that decision. And so I think if you go through that process, it gives you more confidence in your spouse and in the decisions that your spouse would make. I think a lot of times guys are passive, and a lot of times it's easy for our wives to take that leadership role. And there's nothing wrong with that. With the abilities there, you just don't want to go against what God would say. And God wants your husband to be a leader of the house. And so encouraging him in that, speaking into him in that, which means just saying the things and encouraging him, say, you are a leader. You're a great leader. I love praying with you. I know God is going to work through you. Things like that to encourage him. And a lot of times it's just really all it takes to help getting us guys moving just a little bit. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Please let us know. You can email me at drkim@awesomemarriage.com. You can talk about questions that you want to send, and let us know if you like this format or would like us to do more live questions in the future. And